Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hello.
Yes,
Good
sir.
morning to all participants. And we have the second session of drafting of notices and minutes and resolutions. It is a very important topic, and so many participants actually they attended in the last time and enjoyed the contents of the program. Actually, the thing is that as an accountant, as I told you, you will also be doing the work of a company secretary for the small companies. That's the reason you need to know that what are the minutes, how to draft the resolution, how to draft the company these meetings, how they organize it. All these things you should know practically. That's the reason the speaker, Sri Pavan Kumar Bhattiprolu, is a qualified company secretary, insolvency professional, qualified independent director, registered trademark agent, and trained. Actually, we call it as a train the trainers program. Is the chief of that, and you can listen to his lecture on this topic. You will enjoy a lot, and let us go for the program. Sir, now the floor is handed over to you to start, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Wonderful introduction. Actually, the last part that you were saying is called as trained mediator. Nowadays, what is happening is courts are very busy. They are not able to give judgments. They are taking a lot of time. So if you want a quick resolution of the disputes, especially litigations, you can refer these litigations to either arbitration or a mediator. So mediator brings both the parties together and brings to a settlement. That's what is a trained mediator's job.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you so much. So let's start, friends. Last time in the last session, we had discussion on what are the meetings of a company, when they are conducted, how they are conducted, and what are the various legal provisions pertaining to meetings. We have understood that meetings are basically two types. One is meetings of the board of directors. Other one are meetings of the shareholders in the company. So all the provisions relating to meetings we have covered substantially. We know how meetings will happen. And one important thing is what do they discuss at meetings also is covered. I will today, while taking up how to draft notices, will also tell you what exactly will happen at a shareholders meeting and what exactly will happen at a board of directors meeting. So you will have clarity on how to coordinate. Let's say you are in the secretarial department or in the finance department and meetings are happening. How do you coordinate with various people and what will be your role? You can decide on what will be your role. But while you understand the provisions, procedures, and practical aspects of this, you will have clarity on where you stand, right? So after completing the first part on what the meetings are, how do you conduct, where do you conduct them? Second part is understanding, drafting notices and minutes and various things relating to that. So the last time in my lecture, I was discussing about drafting. And when I said drafting, I said there are three important words that you should remember. Let's recall the three important words. Number one is all of us should remember law. Law is the most important thing. Then, along with law, we should also know what are the facts. Then the third important thing is we should put law and the facts in a language form. In a simple definition, I would say drafting is nothing but law, facts in language form. Will convey the expression. So before we get in there is one more important aspect that all of us should know, understand. As we know, communications are two types. What are the two types of communications? If you recall, number one is communication which is oral. We talk and we convey things. Communication which is in writing. What is the difference between oral communication and writing or written communication? Oral communication is very simple. We express what we have in our mind with the help of words to the party. So there are two things that convey what we want to say. Number one is words, which we utter from our mouth. Two is a body language. So what kind of expressions your face is carrying, how your body is conveying the message. So it's very important to understand this. While you are talking, you can smile, look very pleasant, but say very bad things, right? So you can say, I never liked you. You are the worst person that I have ever met you. So you're smiling, you're conveying the most bad statements while you're smiling, right? Or maybe in the other situation, you're saying very sweet things, but your body and your face is looking very aggressive. Let's say somebody wants to say, you are the sweetest thing that I have seen. If he's tense, if he's nervous, he can say, you are the sweetest thing that I've seen. So there is mismatch between what you're saying in terms of words and what you're conveying with your body language. So both are clubbed together to take your message while there is an oral communication. In a written communication, on the other hand, person cannot see you. There is no body language at all. There is no facial expression to support what you're saying or to contradict what you're saying. So now it's plain words on a piece of paper that exactly have to convey what you have to say. So these words should not be harsh. These words should not be soft, depending on what the situation is. So let me tell you one simple rule of written communication. Though all of us as lawyers and company secretaries, chartered accountants, our written communication is very complex and compound because we put all sections, we put all words, we put all rich language that we have learned over a period of time into what we draft. But maybe if you set aside lawyers, professionals, when it comes to a layman, there are one or two simple rules of communication that one should remember. These rules of communication are expressed in the form of an acronym. I'll show you what the acronym is. Just give me 1 second. The acronym is called as KISS. Most of us know this word. We call it as KISS, but basically in terms of communication, it's a very, very important acronym. What it says is, keep it simple and stupid. So your communication has to be simple and also stupid. Don't try to complicate things by adding complicated language or words which are not relevant. So if one layman, a stupid, is trying to read the language, he must be able to understand what you're saying. So if you're using rich words, complicated words, people will have to search the dictionary. That's not the way you're going to draft things. So keep these two things in mind. Let me go to first part of the presentation. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, in the previous discussion or previous session, I have just given you one example of if somebody is going to transfer an orange to his friend, how does he transfer the orange? We have read this last time, so you can see this again. What is he saying when he's transferring the orange? I hereby give and convey to you all singular my estate, interest, rights, claims, title, and advantages of and in said orange. So these things are beyond perception for a layman who has not exactly gone through the legal language. So a lawyer can perceive these things and make it clear, make it elaborate, which a common man cannot do. So that's how drafting is conceived in terms of a lawyer's perception. Let's go forward. Now, as I said, as far as drafting is concerned, in our today's session, I'll just clean the screen so that you know what we are talking. Today's focus is on drafting of minutes, resolutions, and notices, right? So firstly, maybe we will talk about notices, then we will talk about resolutions, and lastly, minutes. As I have said already, the first and the second line clearly talk about what is drafting. We said drafting is nothing, but it's a synthesis of law, facts in the language form. Drafting is crystallization and expression in definitive form of a legal right or a privilege, function, duty, or a status that you're going to tell to the world. This is how we define drafting in simple terms. Let me go to next slide. Yeah, what are the skills that are required when you are actually trying to draft? Firstly, skills of draftsmen are very, very important. So as I said, you must have a lot of clarity in your mind on what I want to convey. How do I want to convey? Am I going to say this aggressively or am I going to say this simply? Let's talk about resignation. Most of you are employed right now, maybe. And let's say you're unhappy with the current situation in an office and you're going to tender resignation. Hardly there are two lines, right? When you have to tender resignation, you can simply write that I, so-and-so, would like to resign from my office. Please relieve me at the earliest, 2 lines. If you want to make this sound very aggressive, you can add words and complicate the whole thing and sound very aggressive. On the other hand, you can sound very passive or subdued. How do you want to do that depends on you. So there should be clarity in mind as to what should be my expression. That's number 1 skill. Number 2, you must always have a language. You must know the law and you must have the facts in place. You should seriously think on what is that I want to convey to the world. That's why serious thinking is very important, especially in a serious draft. If it's an email that you're shooting to your friend, there is nothing critical about that. So you can casually write an email and say, hi friend, how are you? But when it comes to serious matters, drafting needs a serious thinking. Then there should be a prompt action and you must know how to judicially interpret things. I'll come to these points one by one. These are general principles of drafting that are very important for everybody. Check the present form of a document. That's very, very important. I mean, latest form, right? If you were looking at share transfer, what share transfer forms we used in 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020, and 2023 have substantially changed. So current form of a document is very important for you to use. Do not get to outdated formats of documents, number 1. Number 2, you must know the technical and the judicial language. What is the technical language? If I'm talking about a project report, right, and I am talking about a metro rail project, let's say, there are technical terms which are relating to the track, which are relating to the train running system, which are relating to the the way the platforms and stations are built, these technical terms cannot be compromised. So you must have all the technical terms in your place and you must understand their meaning, use them at the relevant place. And judicial language. For a lawyer, judicial language is very important. But if you're not a lawyer, never mind. You can use a simple layman's language to convey things. Avoid negative statement generally in drafting. So we always use positive line of sentences to convey things. We try to avoid negative things. Then we have to be precise and accurate. If you go back to what I have shown, in this whole paragraph, if you see, do you call this as precise or do you call this as elaborate? I want you to respond on this, please. Because today I think we have not really interacted much. I want you to respond. This is elaborate or concise?
Reply it in the chat box, please. All of you. All of you have to participate.
Yeah, there are a lot of good morning messages. I just saw them. Good morning to all of you. So my question is, the content on the screen, is it elaborate or is it very precise? I want you to convey elaborate. Very good. Most of you are saying it is elaborate. Superb. If I am taking the context of an orange, this paragraph is quite elaborate, right? But if I take a property, which is immovable property as context, this is very precise, right? That's why when I'm going to sell my immovable property, the conveyance deed, you might have seen most of you, the sale deed, what we call, is sometimes about 40 pages. When the same thing could have been easily conveyed like this in a paragraph, why are we using 40 pages? Because that's how the precision and the concision of the entire document changes depending on context to context. It's not the same always, remember that. So lastly, there are 3 points. It must be intelligible to layman. I'll really take one very good example here instead of writing, which all of us know. I want you to again express yourself on this question that I'm asking. How many of you heard Mr. Shashi Tharoor in any video or audio or any time in your life? Shashi Tharoor. If you have heard, just say yes. There are around 25 participants. I'm hardly getting 3 or 4 replies. Shashi Tharoor. Okay. Some of you are saying, yes, I heard. Some of you are saying, no, we haven't heard, right? So one comment that I want from all of you is, how many of you are really fans of Shashi Tharoor's language? How many of you really love that language, the way he speaks? Let me tell you honestly, personally, I'm a big fan of the language. I'm a big fan of the way he talks. Yes. But for a person who's not well read in English, if Shashi Tharoor speaks for 5 minutes, the guy has to open 50 pages of dictionary and understand what words Shashi Tharoor has used, right? So this is going to make your life very complex if the speakers use that kind of language. Same holds good for you as a draftsman. We are saying, keep it intelligible for a layman. Who's a layman who's not learned law and who's not learned great language? So he's not an expert. That's why you should keep it simple. Please, all of you write down this name. If you have not heard him speaking, Shashi Tharoor. He is a Congress leader rather, and a fantastic spokesperson. He represented India in multiple meetings and conferences. And he gave some amazing speeches. Yes, that's the word. Please Google him. You can go to YouTube, hear him speak. Amazing language. All right, if you're fans of English. Right, so let's come to the last 2 points on the screen. Follow general rules of grammar. You cannot compromise on rules of grammar, no doubt about it. Lastly, supposed by enclosures and annexures. How many of you read any law till now in life? Have you read any law like Constitution or Civil Procedure Code? Any law, Company Law, Partnership Act? If you have read law, if you're on the screen, you can put thumbs up. Otherwise, on chat box, you can say yes. How many of you read any law ever in your life? Company law? Yes, company law. That is Swati, right? Who else read any law?
All
Okay.
the participants, please be interactive. Business law, yeah.
Law. Very good, fantastic. So business
Mercantile
law,
law, business law, company act, yeah, please.
Correct. Yeah. In the business law, the most important law is law of contract, right? In the company law, there are about 460 sections, which is now GST Act, very good. In the company law, if I take, there are about 460 sections. You can't write everything in the section. That's why what law does is, it writes only important things in the section, and the rest of the things are written in schedules and annexures, right? That's why don't load the primary document with too much of a content, but add enclosures and annexures wherever you think they are relevant. And that's how you must draft the document. Appropriate words and phrases. If you really are searching for what should be the appropriate phrase, I mean, I can give you one example. When X has murdered Y, and there's a case against X in the court of law, what do you call X until he becomes convicted? I'm asking this question again. Please hear carefully. X has murdered Y. There's a case going on against X in the court of law. What is X called while the proceedings are going on in the court of law? What is he called? Yeah. Suspect. All right. But I want a more technical word. Can we have a better word than suspect, please? How many of you are watching those legal movies? A lot of movies like Jolly LLP, etc., which have come on law. We have even seen Pavan Kalyan's movie, which is based on lawyer's job. What do you call? Fantastic. It comes from, I think, Mr. M. Nukaraju. Awesome, sir. Very nice. Vakil sir. Correct. That's the movie. Accused is the word. So you can't really call him criminal until the case is proved. So this is what we're calling as a technical language. If you're not understanding what words to use at a right time, you must use the law dictionary. It will give you a lot of understanding on what are the appropriate words, what you should be used there, right? Then current meaning of the words is very important. I don't know how many of you know this. The meanings of the words keep changing from time to time. I'll give you some examples. You can go Google on them. The word silly, S-I-L-L-Y, in 1800s and 1900 early years was understood to be a beautiful thing. Somebody says you're silly, that means it's beautiful, right? In today's era, if somebody says it's silly, that means it is frivolous. The meaning of the words keep on changing. So you must always be abreast of the latest meaning of the word. Use the relevant words with the contemporary meaning only. Check the sense and circumstances to technical words, which is very important. Again, express the intention of the executors. That is very, very important. Who are the executors? If you take a contract, there is maybe a buyer and a seller. Buyer and seller have come to you and asked you to draft an agreement. And they are telling you, boss, as a buyer, I want XYZ. As a seller, I want these conditions. So what is the intention of the buyer and the seller? You must be able to note and bring those intentions into words. You can't add unnecessary things and make the agreement very fancy. It is not required. But intention has to be conveyed appropriately through your words on a piece of paper. That's what we call as drafting. Last one. Use eminent work of experts. We all, how many lawyers are here? Anybody who's a lawyer or who studied law? Anybody is a lawyer who studied law? I'm just muting for a minute. Okay, there are no lawyers here. Fantastic. Fine. Most of the lawyers would know that whenever we want to present a case in the court of law or draft something, what we do is we pick up the model work done by some eminent people, like we call them as case laws, case studies, etc. Pick them up. You will know how exactly the experts have done it in the past. You can try to be almost near to the experts in your drafting sense. What should be avoided? Very, very important point. Sometimes the words convey different meanings, right? They actually convey double standards many of the time. So avoid those statements, words, which can be interpreted in an ambiguous manner. Do not use those words. Then we said, what gives ambiguity or difficulty in interpretation? I will write one sentence on the screen. You can know how ambiguities are created. Please check this line. What am I writing? Please read the sentence and tell me what is the meaning of this word on the chat box. Is it a positive sentence? Is it a negative sentence? What is the meaning of this sentence? Punish him. Very good. That's coming from Mr. Nukaraju again. You are very interactive, sir. I really compliment that. Very nice. Anirudh, Swati, anyone else? I think there are a lot of participants. Are you guys mute? You're not listening or you're not watching? I don't know. But please interact so that we know. Most of you are saying punish him. It's coming from Jugraj also. Negative sentence. Who's that? Okay, that's Kodali's iPhone. Aisha, punishment, punishment, Swati, punishment. Beautiful. Let me just tell you why we call this as ambiguous sentences. So, all right, 1 minute. So we said intention of the executors, use eminent work. After that, we said avoid these things. In that, I said difficulty in implementation and also interpretation will be ambiguous. I said, why is it ambiguous? This sentence, I'm just going to show you, demonstrate in just 1 second. See here, what I'm doing is, I'm putting a comma here, okay? Then all of your, whatever you said will become right. What did you say? You said it's a punishment. Hang him, not spare him. This is a sentence, right? Now, let me just create the ambiguity. The word not is here. I am putting comma here. And see how the whole sentence changes. This is how grammatical variations, connotations can change the entire meaning. If the judge wanted to do this, he said, hang him not, spare him. Judge's verdict was that. But the typist had put comma after hang him. That's the end of the story. An innocent is convicted, dead, hanged till death. This is how English will be very complicated in situations. It can lead to fun, it can lead to death threats sometimes. So let's go forward. Provisions relating to notice, resolutions, and minutes. I'm coming to the most technical part. Okay. Let's try to understand first the words. What is a notice? Why should it be given? And what is the essence of this word? Yeah, there's somebody. Yeah, Vaibhav, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
Hello.
If you have anything, please type it out. I'm fine. Otherwise, I'll move forward. Yeah.
Okay. No issue.
Let's go one slide back and try to understand what are these words. Let's first get to point. What is a notice of a meeting? And why is it given? Notice of a meeting is nothing but it's an information given to the shareholders, boss, that you have a meeting, you have to come and attend and discuss and be part of the decision making. Let's say in a common man's language, we compare this to an invitation. How do we draft invitations? Most of us would have read hundreds of invitations in the past. Okay, I will just give you one example to how invitations are written. Let's say it's a marriage. We cordially invite you to grace the occasion of my daughter's wedding with so-and-so at so-and-so place, so-and-so venue. There are only 2-3 important words. Cordially invite you and you should grace the occasion, right? Let's change the language. There are other means of saying this. We formally invite you or we formally seek your benign presence on the gracious occasion of my daughter's wedding. This is how we invite people to make them feel special. But when it comes to drafting of notices, etc., these treatments are not required. We need to be very legal. We need to be very concise in what we are trying to say. We are not looking at formalities. We are not looking at making the person feel special, right? It is not an invitation card. So it's an information, but which is more legal in its sense, which has essential information what is required under law. So let me tell you how it goes. Contents of the notice, when it comes to a meeting, shall essentially have these things which are clearly seen on the screen now. Number one, you must obviously write venue. Without venue, the person will not know where to go for the meeting. There should be a date, there should be a day, then there should be time of the meeting, exactly where it is happening. And very, very importantly, you should define purpose. Why are we meeting? That purpose is called as transactions, or in the legal language, it is also called as an agenda to the meeting, right? This is an important word. Agenda and the transactions at a meeting are very well connected, right? So in the next slide, I will tell you more information about this. In the case of an AGM, generally, there are 3 or 4 things that are discussed at every AGM, right? I have a short form for this. You can always remember this. Those who have done maybe company law, read it a little, you know what it is called. It's called as ADA. The abbreviation. What do you mean by ADA? At every AGM, annual general meeting, which is conducted every year, we are definitely going to understand how the accounts are prepared, what is the position of assets, liabilities, profit and loss account. That's why the first item deals with accounts and it's A, right? Second item, if a company wants to declare dividend to its shareholders, it must decide now. Therefore, the second item is pertaining to dividend, and that's why it's D, right? A, D. Then there are some directors who are going to retire and some directors will be appointed again, right? So every year, standardly, we talk about who directors are outgoing, who directors are incoming. Therefore, we talk about dividends, directors, and lastly, maybe every year, we generally talk about auditors. So these are the 4 points standardly taken at every general meeting. That's called as agenda. And what is the word that we use for all these 4 regular items? The regular items are called as ordinary business. Remember that. My friends, these are very confusing terms. Even to qualified company secretary, many times I've seen that they get confused. I'll tell you how they get confused. One person qualified as a company secretary came to an interview and I was asking him simple question. What's a special business? The guy said special business is something, sir, which is not ordinarily done by the company. So I said, please elaborate what is that? He says, every company regularly does some regular business, and if you do something which is not your regular business, it is called a special business. But let me explain to you, when it comes to company law and company, the word ordinary business and special business are not connected to your business at all. They are not connected to commerce. It is not karobar. It is not vyapar. It is the agenda. What is going to be discussed at a meeting is divided into 2 parts. One is ordinary. Other one, I'm sure once I tell you what one is ordinary, 99% of you can guess what is the other one. Please guess, if one is ordinary, what is the other one? Anirudh, wonderful. Full form of ADDA, accounts, directors, dividend and auditors. Wonderful, well done. So I'm asking you, if one is ordinary, what is the other? Repeat. If one set of business is called as ordinary business, what is the other set of business called?
Ordinary opposite?
We are losing time.
Yeah, please.
Primary, no. Lavanya, I'm sorry, it's not primary. Dividend is not number of shares, Vaibhav.
Special,
No,
somebody said
perfect.
special.
I think it came again from Mr. Jugraj Bhandari. Special, superb. That's the word that we use. One is an ordinary business and the other one is called as a special business. What do you mean by special business? I'm going to tell you that in 1 second. Let me first write down the word. So we use 2 words. One is ordinary, other one is called as special. So what is a special business? Let me tell you, if I'm calling these as 1, 2, 3, and 4, anything that we discuss which is not falling in 1, 2, 3, 4 will become a special business. That's the thumb rule. So if it is ADDA, A, D, D, A, it is ordinary. If it is not ADDA, it is special. That's all. There are 2 important points here. In a AGM, there will always be ADDA and ordinary business, right? In a EGM, last time I told you about EGM, Extraordinary General Meeting. In a EGM, there is no ordinary business. Let me repeat. In a EGM, there is no ordinary business. What is there in EGM? Everything is special business in EGM. And in a AGM, there will be ordinary business. Next question. But can I have special business in AGM? Yes, you're absolutely permitted to have special business in AGM. And anything that is not falling within this four will become a special business. With this information, I think you understand how notices of AGM will be drafted and why is it so important. Any question on agenda, ordinary business, special business? Please put it on the screen if you have any question. Okay. Notice, as I said, can be ordinary or special business included in that. Let's go forward. There is something called as an explanatory statement. This is very, very important part of the notice. What is an explanatory statement? You know, even in our own house, let's say in a family, when we are talking ordinary things, we don't need explanations. Let's say I'll come and tell my mom in the morning that, Ma, I'm going to my office. She's not going to ask me any more questions because she knows that's my day-to-day job. I go to office, I come back at home. But if I'm not going in the morning at 10 o'clock to the office, I'm staying back at home till 12:30. And then I am saying that, Ma, I'm going to my son's school. There is something different today. And my mother, my wife, everybody will get worried as to what is happening. I have to explain why am I going to my son's school at 12 o'clock in the noon as against 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So whenever there is a special business being discussed, which is not an ordinary business, then you have to inform, explain a lot of things to your shareholders, which is called as a explanatory statement. So explanatory statement is very important whenever there is special business discussed. All right. One important point, in case of an ordinary business, explanatory statement is not required. In case of a special business, explanatory statement is absolutely required. Now we are trying to understand. What is it? It is giving explanation as to why. Let's say I'll give you one example which can happen in every company. A company which was dealing with cement, let's take example of Andhra Cement or some cement company. It does not want to do cement business anymore. It wants to change its business to steel business. That's a very, very special matter. And you have to explain to your shareholders why are you proposing this particular agenda point in your meeting. That's called as explanatory statement. I'll not waste your time. I'm sure most of you have understood what I'm saying. So let's go forward. Yeah, Vaibhav, your question is right. Retirement of directors, they should file in ROC. You're right. I'm not going into the depth because I believe most of you are not the company secretaries. You are not doing secretarial jobs. So that's why I'm not getting into those details. I'm only confining myself to the general discussion of drafting. Just give me 1 minute. So yeah, what can be called as explanatory statement is what we have understood. Let's go forward. There are two types of resolutions, ordinary and special. I'm not going to waste your time because this is too technical for somebody who's not a company secretary. It's there on my slide. You can eventually read and understand what I mean by them. Right now, because we don't have as much time, we go forward to next topic. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you so that you will get a practical understanding of how to draft a notice of an AGM. Specimen is right in front of you. Take a look at it. So first we are saying notice, right? Start with the first word as notice. Notice is hereby given that 7th annual general meeting. So this number is very important. How many general meetings have happened in the past and how many or which number of meeting you're conducting now? And the word you're going to say is notice. This is not an invitation. Remember that the law uses the word notice. Is hereby given. What do you mean by hereby? This is again legal sense. With this particular piece of paper, I am trying to comply with the law of giving a notice. That's why we use the word hereby. All right. That annual general meeting of who of the members of the company of dash company will be held on, now observe this, day, date, that is month, year, and time, at. So you have the whole venue where it is going to be conducted. This word is very important. Why are you conducting the meeting? To transact certain important business. As I told you already, business can be two types. One is ordinary, which we're going to discuss at the general meeting. Other one is special, right? So that's why now you see, we're going to tell them what kind of ordinary business we're discussing. And after that, if there is any special business, we write that also. So in the case of first ordinary business, we are saying to receive, consider, adopt the audited profit and loss account. Here, remember always, whenever we are talking about profit and loss account, we say for the year, the whole year. But whenever we say balance sheet, it is as on that date, not for the whole year. How many of you got the difference on what I'm talking about? How many of you understood the difference? Please give me a thumbs up if you have understood. Those who understood, please give me a thumbs up. Yes, there's one Lalita who's understood very good. I didn't understand. Anirudh. Okay. How many of you commerce students? If you are commerce, just write commerce. Those who are commerce students, just write commerce. Very good. Swati is commerce. Who else is commerce? Commerce, very good. Sri Lakshmi commerce, Anirudh commerce. Okay, most of your commerce. Let me tell you one thing. Why a P&L account is called as profit and loss account? Very good. I now get most of your commerce students, only maybe one or two of you are not commerce. So now listen to me carefully. Why do we use the word profit and loss, whereas you get either a profit or a loss? How many of you heard what I said? The word and here, it should be basically or, right? So you either get profit or you get loss. Can you have both? Why is it called profit and loss? I'm going to repeat that now, Anirudh, for your sake and everybody's sake. Sure. Most of you do not know the answer. Why is it profit and loss? If you know this answer, you are a champion in accounts. I will acknowledge that to you. Now it's an open challenge to all of you on the screen in this session. Please tell me, why is it profit and loss? Why is it not profit or loss? Whereas actually you get profit or loss only one, not both. Yeah, waiting for your response quickly. Then I'll tell you what I said. Okay, I'm not getting any response. So most of you do not know. Right. I'll tell you what. In a company, when it is doing again Jugraj Bhandari, right? आप खुद लिख रहे हो, it is a statement of income and gains and expense and loss, right? And we can get profit or loss, which comes at the end of the year. The profit or loss आ रहा है, तो profit and loss account क्यों बोल रहे हो? Strangely, profit and loss both are possible in one balance, in one P&L account. You know how? If you have faced a loss by selling your machinery, that's a loss. But at the end of the financial year, when you compare your income versus expenditure, you make surplus, that is called as profit. So in the same P&L account, there is profit from business and there is loss from sale of machinery. It is possible that profit and loss both arise in the same financial year. Though ultimately it will be either profit or loss in your P&L account, right? That's why we use the word profit and loss. No, I'm not talking about cost and expenses. Yeah, I think I've made my point. Let's come to the discussion that we are doing. I am telling you that whenever it is profit and loss account, we say profit and loss account for the year. Observe the words here. Here I am saying profit and loss account for the year. Whereas in the case of balance sheet, I am using the word, it is as on that date. Remember, that's why balance sheet is portrayed as on 31st March of every financial year. But it is not for the whole year. I'm done with my point. If you have any questions, ask me now. I'm waiting. I'll be on mute. I'm waiting for your questions now because this is very technical. Okay, so most of us got the difference. Let's come to the second point. In the second point of agenda, what we write is that to appoint a director in place of Sri Sanjay Shetty, who retires by rotation and being eligible offers himself for reappointment. So naturally understand, if I retire by rotation as a director, I can get reappointed or I choose not to get reappointed. If I don't want to get reappointed, you have to substitute me by someone else, right?
Yeah.
But if I say I want to get appointed, you can choose or not to choose. That's your choice. Therefore, I will propose to get reappointed, and now you are asking the shareholders whether we should reappoint the same person or whether we should have a different person, right? Let's come to third point. In the third point, we are saying to appoint auditors and authorize the board to fix their remuneration. How many of you know for how long an auditor is appointed? If a person is appointed as auditor of a company, what is his tenure as auditor? How long will he hold office? Saida Gazala Fatima ji, yeah, you're right that we make balance sheet for 1 year, but auditor is appointed for, nowadays, most of you would not have got this update, is appointed for 5 years. Therefore, auditor ka appointment need not be discussed every year. It's only discussed once in 5 years. Jugraj Bhandari, now it is mandatory that you appoint an auditor for 5 years. Unless you are in certain critical circumstances where you cannot appoint for 5 years, right? What is this? Equity of shares, number of shares with maximum or minimum? I'll take this up later because this is not currently connected to what we are talking. Okay, last one is to declare dividend. One question to all of you. Is it mandatory to declare dividend? Achha, maybe this is what you are connecting it with. Is it mandatory to declare dividend? Yes or no, quick? No, absolutely correct. It is not mandatory to declare dividend. Therefore, a company may or may not declare dividend. That's why this is not standardly there in all items. Then let's come to special business. How do you write special business? Yeah, please focus on what I'm saying now or what am I showing you on the screen. I want you to identify difference between how do you write ordinary business and how do you write special business. Okay, please do that quickly. So till now you have seen how do we write ordinary business. Now we are seeing how do we write special business. One second. In case of a special business, what we do is, we say to consider and if thought fit to pass the following resolution with or without modification as an ordinary resolution. This is a heading when we start the special business. And then we go to the point. What did we write in the next pages? We are saying now, resolved that pursuant to you can see there, pursuant to provisions of section 152 of the Companies Act and all other applicable provisions, Mr. Y. B.N. is hereby appointed as a director, whose period of office shall be liable to determination by retirement or rotation of directors. Right, this is a sentence. Now, I'll come to this eventually. I want you to first understand the structural difference when it comes to ordinary business and special business. How many of you noticed what is the difference? Those who noticed, I want you to quickly write. What did you notice? What is the difference between ordinary business and special business? How do we write that? Okay. I don't know how many of you could identify the difference, but I am just asking you, how many of you noticed difference hai? Paid attention to that. As I can see, 28 participants here. I'll call out the names. Anirudh, Jugraj Bhandari, there is Sri Lakshmi, Lakshmi, Lalita, Lavanya, Nukaraj Jugaru, then you have Padma, then you have M. Kumari, Pushpalata, Rakesh, Satish, Sridhar. I'm calling out all your names. I'm not getting any response. So how many of you observe the difference? Yeah, what is the difference? Most of you said there is a difference. So what is the difference now? Did I see any difference from anybody? Yeah. Anyway, it's difficult for you to write the whole thing, huh? Right? So see, you said special business need not follow explanatory statement. Very wrong. Hello? I have been telling you very loud and clear that explanatory statement is absolutely required for special business number 1, right? It is not required for ordinary business part 1. Again, when you come to this notice, see here, these are all ordinary business. What is the difference? When it comes to ordinary business, there is nothing called resolution here. Can you see body of resolution? No. But when it comes to special business, you are seeing a body of resolution. This is how notice has 2 parts, special business and a ordinary business. And in case of a special business, there must be a resolution ka draft. In case of ordinary business, this resolution ka draft is not required. We have reached a very, very important stage of our discussion. You tell me how many of you understood what exactly I said. You have only 2 words. Yes, no, yes, no. Yes, no, yes, no. That's it. I've got some 2 replies or 7 replies rather. Anirudh didn't get the difference. I'll repeat for you, Anirudh. Last time. जब ऑर्डिनरी बिजनेस के बारे में हम नोटिस में लिखते हैं, हम सीधा एक लाइन में फिनिश करते हैं। और हम स्पेशल बिजनेस के बारे में जब बात करते हैं तो हम एक पूरा रेजोल्यूशन का ड्राफ्ट यहाँ लगाते हैं। as part of the proposal. ये resolution का body ordinary business में कहीं भी नहीं आएगा, सिर्फ special business में आएगा. I'm sure now you got it. So let's move forward. Explanatory statement कैसे देते हैं और कहाँ देते हैं, फिर एक बार और repeat कर रहा हूँ. Those who are missing out, those who are maybe not concentrating, not keen on the session, this is possible only, or this is required only when you have a special business in your discussion. If there is no special business, there is no explanatory statement, but wherever there is special business, there must be an explanatory statement, right? So I'm writing here, special business. Special business requires explanatory statement, and that is why you are writing here. Special business also requires a resolution. That's why we add the resolution there. Now, explanatory statement is given here. This is not relevant. You just have to explain. That is what you must know. This is very technical subject. Let's move from here. There are notes after that. Whatever important points that you want to inform to your shareholders that you can appoint proxy, etc., we write it in the notes. Then after that, we come to the minutes of the meeting. How many of you clearly followed the notice, how to draft notice? Please give me thumbs up if you followed how to draft notice.
All of you, because whatever he has mentioned it, so have you understood? Please mention it in the chat box, all of you.
Yeah, okay.
Others also.
Okay, kindly show the full notice on the screen. I'm showing now. Just wait a second. I'll take you to the notice of one of the companies shortly. The real notice drafted by one of the companies, so you'll understand fairly. I know, Anirudh, that you won't draft a notice. Anyway, I'll take you to the practical example. Just stay tuned for a second. I'm muting myself and also camera. I'll show you the real notice drafted by one of the companies, so you'll get fair idea. This is the notice of Infosys. How many of you are able to see here? If you are able to see the notice of Infosys, please confirm quickly. I will zoom in. It's not clear. Yeah, you will get it. You will get it. Don't worry. But are you able to see something on screen that there is a piece of paper? Okay. Now wait. Okay. Let's go to next page. Now, how many of you are able to see? Confirm now. For those who are On the camera, give me a thumbs up, that's enough. Okay, great. Now read how a notice of the Infosys is drafted. I'll also read with you so that you will know where exactly we are talking about. Here, notice, we have already told you this is how we do it, is hereby given that 42nd annual general meeting of members of Infosys Limited will be held on Wednesday, June 28, 2023, 4 p.m. See, the meeting is not yet over. I'm giving you live example, which is 2023 meeting of Infosys, which will be held on June 28 at 4 p.m. through a video conference, right? There is no venue, that is why, because this is going to be a video conference meeting. So at this meeting, what are they going to do? They've written here, we'll transact the following business. Number one, we'll transact special business, right? In special business, they simply said adoption of financial statement. No resolution here. Compare that. Item number two, we are talking about dividend. They are giving you 17.5 rupees dividend for each share for the whole year ended 31st March. Then they are appointing Mr. Salil Parekh as director, who's retiring the rotation. All right. With this, ordinary business comes to an end in the notice. Can I move forward? Please give me a thumbs up. I want it quick, please. See, I want my audience to be very quick and clear. Yeah, fine, good. So now we go to how did they write this special business, if at all they wrote.
So the time is also 11:10.
Yeah.
You can
Now
check
you
it
see
out.
special business. I'll remove all this so that there is no confusion. And you can put all your attention on special business. Now let's see how special business is written. Heading, firstly special business. Item number 4, appointment of Mr. Potier as an independent director of the company. Now look at the heading. To consider if thought fit to pass the following as a special resolution. And now you are writing the whole text of resolution here, which we have not done here, which we have not done here, which we have not done here. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay, I will just zoom out for a while so that you know. From here we started. This is where special business is. And this is how we put the entire body of the resolution in a special business. All right. Now let me zoom a little more. Yeah. Now I move forward. In the second page, we are talking about some important notes. What is all important information? We keep on giving this to all the shareholders. That's why the resolution is drafted. I think, I don't know what is the time now. We must be running short on time. It's already 11:14.
It's
How many of you
11:15.
want me to continue or stop? That is a call of our Sir, Prakash Garu. Should we continue or stop it here?
I think we take the opinion of the. Sir, is there, I mean, how much more time it will take?
Sir, I think they have all got necessary information about drafting, how it is done.
Yeah. I think we close it. Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, and I will share my presentation in PDF format. If they have anything more, they can always come
Yes,
back on
yes,
my
we
personal
close
window.
it here. Yeah, important points are covered. I think all the participants, you have got actually, it is a practical company law procedures he has covered it. It is a very good, I know he has touched every point. I mean, how to write the important, points about the notice, resolution, technical terms also, he covered it. I think with this, we close the session, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, so all the students, so let's all thank him, all of you. Please open up your mics and say thanks to him.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Please
for-
Thank you very much,
Got
sir.
it.
All of you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much,
so
sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much to
All of you, please give a big hand to him. All of you. All of you clap hands.
Thank you very much, sir.
What we, express our thanks to him. Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good day.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks all of you for your patient hearing. It's very
It
difficult to
was
hear somebody.
Actually, a
done that.
very good session you have taken so patiently. All our students gained a very good knowledge in this, and the two sessions were very, very important. And for the very patience you have, thanks a lot, and nice one. Good
Thank
day.
you, sir. Thank you, everybody.